Well, hello again. Looks like I had a little technical difficulty with my 7th and 8th reading, so I'm going to redo those. This is chapter 16 of Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. And you recall from the 6th edition, Min Li and the dragon had found their way through the monkey problem. Min Li solved that with her fish net and a big pot of rice, and found out that the monkeys were pretty greedy. Feasting on juicy peaches, Min Li and the dragon walked through the woods for many days. At night, when the dragon slept, Min Li missed Ma and Ba. But this is for our fortune, so they don't have to work so hard anymore, Min Li told herself when she thought about the worry that they must be feeling. When I get back, Ba can rest and Ma will never have to sigh again. They'll see. But the lonely moon never seemed to gaze comfortably down at her. One day Min Li and the dragon came upon a body of water, and in the distance they saw the woods continue. As the compass pointed across the water, the dragon swam the inlet with Min Li riding on his back. "How far do we go before we get to Never-Ending Mountain?" the dragon asked. "Well," Min Li said slowly, "the fish said to go west until I reached the City of Bright Moonlight. Once there, I'm supposed to find the guardian of the city." "The guardian?" Dragon asked. "Who is that?" "Well, I'm not sure," Min Li said. "The king of the city, I guess. Once I find him, I'm supposed to ask for the borrowed line, which, according to the fish, is something I'll need for Never-Ending Mountain." "The borrowed line?" the dragon asked. "What is that?" "I don't know," Min Li said. "The fish didn't tell me." "You didn't ask?" The dragon almost stopped swimming in surprise. I didn't want to delay her," Min Li said. "She was in a rush." The dragon shook his head and opened his mouth to say something when they both heard a strange sound next to them in the water. "Aunt Jin, Aunt Jin," a voice said. "Is it you? You said you came back like you said." The dragon and Min Li looked in the water and saw a large orange fish with a black fin swimming next to them. It looked a lot like Min Li's goldfish, but larger. "I think you have me mixed up with someone else," Min Li said to the fish. "I was speaking to the dragon," the fish said, "but you must not be Aunt Jin either." "Well," the dragon looked down at the fish with a wry smile. "Either one of us would be a very strange relative to you, fish. Why did you think I was your aunt?" "Because Aunt Jin always said that she would come back to show us the dragon if the Dragon Gate was real," the fish said. "What do you mean?" Min Li asked. "The Dragon Gate. What's that?" And here is the story of the Dragon Gate. Even though no fish has seen the Dragon Gate, we all know about it. Perhaps the story was told to us through the waves of water while we were eggs, or whispered to us by the roots of the lotus flowers. We all know that somewhere in one of the rivers of the land there is a great and powerful waterfall. It is so high and so vast that it is as if the water were gushing from a cut in the heavens. At the top of that waterfall, beyond everyone's view, is the Dragon's Gate. The Dragon Gate is an entryway to the sky. It is old, so old that it's possible that the gray stone columns grew from the mountain itself. Wind and time have worn and smoothed the gate's tiered placards that barely show the old carvings of the 5 colored clouds of heaven. Above the placards are the tiled arches of the same color as the misty sky. 999 small dragons ornament the perch on the ledges of those tiled roofs. Each one is intricately formed to the smallest detail, and even weathered as they are, the black eyes still flash with a mysterious power. That is because these dragons are not mere decorations. They hold the secret to the Dragon Gate. If ever a fish is able to swim up the waterfall and pass through the gate, the dragons will shake with power. and the fish goes through. Its spirit enters the gate and bursts out one of the ornaments, changing the fish into the form of a flying dragon. That's the end of the story of the Dragon Gate. So the Dragon Gate transforms fish into dragons, a wish many of us hold deep in our hearts, the fish finished. None know who first told the story, or even if it is a story at all, but Aunt Jen was determined to find out. She said she was going to search all of the rivers of the land for it, and if she found it, she'd come back here as a dragon to show us. That's why I thought you might be her. Did your Aunt Jen look like you? Minley asked. Orange with a black fin? Yes, the fish said, but much smaller, the size of a copper coin. It doesn't seem likely that a fish that small could swim up a waterfall, Dragon said. Even if she does find the right river, she might not be able to get to the gate. If there is a gate, Aunt Jen will find a way through it. The fish said, she is very wise. If you knew her, you'd understand. Maybe I do know her, Minley said softly, thinking hard about the goldfish that she'd set free. Could it be that her goldfish, who had swum all the rivers except one, had been Jen searching for the Dragon Gate? If you are not Aunt Jen, the fish said to the dragon, interrupting Minley's thought, why are you swimming across the river? Why don't you just fly? He can't fly, Minley answered for the dragon. When she saw his discomfort, we are going to see the old man of the moon to ask how to change that. But we have to cross the river to get to the city of bright moonlight first. Old man of the moon, the fish said, good luck. Finding him will be harder than finding the Dragon Gate. Minley and the dragon looked at each other and shrugged. But the city of bright moonlight is just past the forest over there, the fish continued. Swim over to this side and you can see it in the distance. And just as the fish said, Minley and the dragon saw the city, an enormous wall, like a giant patchwork curtain of stone, surrounded the thousands of houses of the city, and almost glowing with the splendor of its red columns and golden top, a palace stood up over the clusters of buildings in the far center, like a glorious boat floating above the waves of the scalloped rooftop tiles. Even from a distance, the city looked majestic. If you are stopping at the city of bright moonlight, the fish continued, I think the dragon should probably stay hidden. People of bright moonlight might be shocked to see a real dragon. The last dragon sighted was about 100 years ago, and it destroyed the king's father's palace in a city in the east. They might not take too kindly to you. That is good to know, said Minley. It might be better if I go to the city myself. Yes, the dragon agreed. I can hide at the edge of the forest and wait for you. They close the wall at night, the fish said, so if you are in the city at night, you'll have to stay until morning. Oh, don't worry, Dragon said to Minley. I will wait. Well, you're almost to land, the fish said, so I'll leave you. If you ever see another dragon, find out if it's my Aunt Jen. Hope you get to meet the old man of the moon. Good luck. Minley and the dragon watched the fish swim away. Then they made their way to land and the city of bright moonlight. Here's chapter 17. Minley gulped as she walked toward the gray stone wall of the city. As she passed the 2 stone lions marking the entrance, she glanced behind her. Even though she only saw the trees and shadows, she knew the dragon was hidden there. Quickly, she pushed through the doors of the gate, leaving the forest and the dragon behind her. As the gate closed, Minley stared. The streets were crowded and bustling. The city seemed to be bubbling with people like boiling rice. Vendors selling fruit and shoes called out their wares, while people rushed past, some pushing wheelbarrows or balancing baskets on their shoulders. A large, muddy water buffalo, led by a boy perhaps a year or two older than Min Lee, wandered through and was ignored as a commonplace occurrence. "Watch out, little mouse," a gruff man said behind her, his baskets of cabbages driving her into the crowd. As she shoved and pushed, Min Lee grabbed the arm of the boy with the water buffalo. "Hi," she said. "If I want to see the king, where do I go?" "The king?" The boy looked at her in surprise. "You'd have to go to the palace." "How do I get to the palace?" Min Lee asked. "Well, just follow the black stones," the boy said, pointing to the road paved with polished bricks. "They'll lead you to the city." "Wait," Min Lee said. "Isn't this the city? The palace is in another city?" "Well, you must not be from around here," the boy laughed. "The city of bright moonlight is divided into two. This is the outer city, where anyone can live and travel. The inner city is where the palace is, where the king and the officials live. You have to have permission to go into the inner city. If you don't, you're not going to be able to see the king or the palace. There are thousands of guards protecting the inner city. They won't let anyone through without permission." "I'll find a way," Min Lee said confidently. "Thanks." And she let go of the boy's arm and headed toward the black road. However, as Min Lee got closer to the inner city, she realized the boy was right. The red walls of the inner city loomed tall and forbidding. Every gold-studded gate and door was guarded by at least 2 soldiers, their silver armor reflecting in the hot sun. It would be a daunting task just to enter the inner city, much less find the palace and the king. "But I must," Min Lee said to herself. Regardless, the guards' faces were stern and hard, and she quaked inside. "If I ask to go in," Min Lee thought, as she hung back amongst the fruit stands and fish vendors, "they'll ignore me or force me away with their swords, and either way, I won't be able to see the king. What should I do?" "Not as easy as you thought, huh?" a voice said next to her. Min Lee turned and saw the water buffalo boy standing next to her. Min Lee gave him a wry look. "Boys," she thought to herself, always thinking they know everything. Still, she had to admit he was right. She had no idea how she would see the king. "They must let people into the inner city sometimes," Min Lee said. "Oh, they do," the boy said. "Once a year at the Moon Festival. They open the gates to everyone." "When's the Moon Festival?" Min Lee asked. "Already happened," the boy said. "You'll have to wait until next year." Min Lee bit her lip in frustration. What was she going to do? "I don't know why you want to go in there so badly," the boy said. "The buildings and clothes are nicer, but the people, they're a bunch of puffed up frogs." "At the Moon Festival, one of the stablemen wanted to order me around and thought he could trick me into thinking that he was the king. But when I asked him why he wasn't wearing a golden dragon, he knew his prank wasn't going to work. Did he think that I was stupid? Everyone knows that a golden dragon is always and only worn by kings and the emperor. The people in there think we're a bunch of dumb oxen." And the buffalo beside the boy gave a snort at that. "Sorry," the boy said, patting the buffalo on the nose. "You know I didn't mean that." But by this time, the inner city guards had seen them lingering at the gate. "You there, kids," one of them barked. "Move along." "Come on," the boy said, tugging Min Lee's sleeve. "Let's go." Min Lee followed him and the buffalo. "Where are we going?" she asked. "I'm going home. You can come too if you want." And since Min Lee had no place to go, she did. And I believe we better stop there, even though we're a little short of 15 minutes. I hope everybody has a chance to get outside and enjoy the better weather. Have some fun.